I'm not sure, Emily began. Why would a famous billionaire want to date a McDonald's employee? Is this some kind of prank? I assure you, this is not a prank, Tanya replied. Mr. Musk really appreciates genuine acts of kindness, and he has an offer that might interest you. We can arrange a meeting at any time and place convenient for you. Emily took a deep breath. What did she have to lose? Okay, she finally said. I agree to meet. As she was rereading the letter later, Emily's phone rang. The number was unknown, but she answered. Emily Morgan? The official female voice asked. Yes, it's me. My name is Tanya Williams, and I'm Elon Musk's executive assistant. Mr. Musk asked me to check if you received his email. Yes, Emily murmured, stunned. I just got it, but is it really from him? Absolutely right, Mr. Musk was very impressed by your kind gesture at McDonald's last night. Unfortunately, he also learned that you lost your job because of the incident, and he feels responsible. He would like to meet you in person. Is that possible? Emily couldn't believe it. Elon Musk, one of the most famous billionaires in the world, wanted to meet her, an ordinary McDonald's employee. Kindness returns. The story of Emily and Elon Musk. You're fired, Morgan. Get out of here immediately, the manager, red with rage, shouted, and Emily stood there unable to move, feeling the ground slipping out from under her feet. But my son, surgery, please. Her voice trembled, and tears were already rolling down her cheeks. McDonald's customers froze, filming the scene on their phones. Emily didn't know that a few hours later, the video would be seen by someone who would change her destiny completely. Miss Morgan, a deep male voice stopped her on the way out. My name is Elon Musk. Yesterday, you paid for my order and saved my day. Today, let me save your life. The most interesting part is coming. Stay with us to find out how it all ends. In the meantime, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't lose it. The cold December wind cut through the air as Emily Morgan wiped down the cash register at a McDonald's in Austin, Texas. The clock on the wall read 11:30 p.m., just 30 minutes until her 8-hour shift would be over. Her legs were aching, her back was aching, and her mind was racing with the thought of enduring, not breaking down, finding the strength to smile and ask, would you like to add an apple pie to your order? Hang in there, Emily, she whispered to herself. The kids need you. You have to be strong. McDonald's sat on a freeway just outside Austin and was one of the few fast food restaurants open 24 hours a day. Most nights were quiet after 10, but today the traffic was steady, with hungry travelers and night shift workers stopping in for a bite to eat and a hot drink to warm up. Emily glanced at the photograph taped to the inside of her locker door. Smiling out of it were her children. Emma, age 9, with an adorable gap where her front tooth had fallen out, and Jason, age 7, with his oversized glasses that made his eyes look unnaturally large. They were probably sleeping over at their neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez's by now. The order is ready, Jake shouted from the kitchen. Emily grabbed the paper bag and placed it on the counter. Have a nice evening, she said to the sleepy truck driver who picked up his order. Thoughts of bills waiting at home raced through his head. The rent was due in 5 days, and Jason needed new boots. The old ones had holes in both sides. The extra night shifts helped, but the money was still tight. Hey, we've got a drive-in, called Alicia, the other night worker. Can you take this? I need to go to the bathroom. Of course, Emily answered, heading towards the window. She put on the headset. Welcome to McDonald's. How can I help you? A tired male voice said, I'd like a large coffee, black, 2 double cheeseburgers, and a large order of fries. Shakespeare. Is that all, sir? Yes, that's all. Thank you. That'll be $12.87. Please come to the first window. Emily looked up as an elegant, expensive car pulled up to the window. It wasn't the usual car of the nighttime visitors. Most people arriving at this time of day drove trucks or old sedans, not such a luxurious make. When the window opened, Emily almost dropped the card reader. The man behind the wheel was Elon Musk. She recognized him from TV and the internet. What was a billionaire doing in a takeaway coffee shop at almost midnight? He looked exhausted. There were dark circles under his eyes, his hair was tousled, and he was wearing a rumpled t-shirt with some kind of science joke on it that Emily didn't understand. Good evening, she said, trying to sound normal. That'll be $12.87. Elon Musk reached into his back pocket, then frowned. He checked another pocket, then the cup holders and glove compartment. I'm so sorry, he said. I think I left my wallet at the office. I've been working for almost 20 hours straight, and my brain refuses to function. He sighed. We'll have to go back for him. Sorry to bother you. Emily saw the weariness in his eyes. She remembered all the times she herself had been exhausted after working double shifts. She remembered the time a kind stranger had paid for her groceries when her card had been declined. Wait, she said quickly. It's okay, I'll pay. She pulled out her own debit card, the one with only $432 left until payday, and swiped it. You don't have to do that, he said, looking surprised. It's okay, Emily replied with a smile. We all forget things sometimes. She handed him the check, then turned to collect the order. As she filled the bag, she made a spontaneous decision and added apple pie. It wasn't much, but sometimes a little sweet joy can brighten even the hardest of days. Here you go, she said, handing the package through the window. I added apple pie. You look like you could use something sweet after such a long day at work. Elon looked at her badge, then at her face. Something like recognition flashed in his gaze, although it couldn't be. Thank you, Emily, he said. That's very kind of you. You're welcome, Mr. Musk. Take a rest, okay? His eyebrows shot up in surprise. Did you recognize me? She laughed. Of course. My son Jason has your poster in his room. He dreams of building rockets. Elon smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes. Tell Jason I encourage him to keep dreaming, and thanks again. With these words, he drove away, the red lights of the brakes disappearing into the night. Emily didn't pay much attention to the incident. She finished her shift, left at midnight, and caught the last bus home. Mrs. Rodriguez was asleep on the couch when Emily unlocked the door to her small apartment. Thank you for looking after them, she whispered, gently waking her neighbor. No problem, dear. They were angels, as always. After Mrs. Rodriguez left, Emily looked in on the sleeping children. Jason, as usual, had thrown off the blanket. She covered him and kissed his forehead. Emma was clutching her stuffed rabbit tightly, looking peaceful. I'm doing everything I can for you guys, Emily whispered. In the kitchen, she counted the money for tomorrow's bus fare, the kids' lunches, and was now down $12.87. It would be tough, but they could do it. They always did. She didn't regret helping Elon Musk. Rich or poor, everyone deserved kindness. That was what her mother had taught her, and it was a lesson she wanted to pass on to her children. Emily didn't know that her small act of kindness would soon change everything. She didn't know that security cameras had recorded the entire interaction. She couldn't have guessed that by tomorrow evening, the video would be spreading across the internet. Emily's phone vibrated incessantly during her lunch break the next day. At first, she ignored it, thinking it was spam. But when her sister Lisa called 3 times in a row, she finally answered. Emily, have you seen? You're all over the internet. Lisa's voice was loud and excited. What are you talking about? Emily unwrapped her peanut butter sandwich, the cheapest lunch option she could make. Someone posted a video from McDonald's last night. It shows you giving free food to Elon Musk. It's going viral. Emily almost choked on her sandwich. What? How? There was no one else there. Security cameras, silly. Someone must have shared the footage. It shows everything. How he forgot his wallet, how you paid, and even how you gave him apple pie. People call you the McDonald's angel. Emily felt her stomach clench. Oh no, can you see my badge? My face? It's clear as day. You're a celebrity now. Celebrity was the last thing Emily wanted. She was working 2 jobs and taking online courses at night when the kids were asleep. She didn't have time for fame. I have to go, Liz, Emily said. My break is almost over. She ended the call and quickly found the video. It only took a few seconds. Someone had posted it with the headline, McDonald's worker gives billionaire free food. Humanity at its best. The video already had 3 million views. Emily watched in horror as the security camera footage showed her swiping her card, adding the apple pie, and Elon driving away. The comments section was filled with thousands of reactions. She's so sweet. I hope Elon gives her a Tesla. It's out of her own pocket. This is the America I believe in. Emily's phone vibrated with a message from her manager, Mr. Daniels. Come into my office when you get home tonight. Her heart sank. McDonald's employee handbook strictly prohibited giving away free food. Even if she paid for it herself, adding apple pie without paying was against the rules. The rest of her shift at the warehouse, where she worked during the day, passed in a fog of anxiety. What if she lost her night job? The McDonald's job paid better and had more flexible hours. By the time she got to McDonald's that evening, the situation had worsened. A small crowd of people had gathered in the parking lot, some holding up their phones, apparently hoping to catch a glimpse of the famous McDonald's angel. "There she is!" someone shouted as Emily hurried inside. Mr. Daniels waited by the time clock, his arms crossed and his face flushed. He was a short man with thinning hair, who took McDonald's rules with deadly seriousness. "Morgan, to my office immediately." Emily followed him, her heart pounding. Through the glass of the break room, she could see her colleagues watching, their faces a mixture of sympathy and curiosity. Mr. Daniels closed the door and pointed to a chair. "Sit down." He played the viral video on his computer. "Explain this." Emily took a deep breath. "Mr. Daniels, he forgot his wallet. I paid for his food myself. I didn't steal anything." "And the apple pie?" His eyebrows shot up. "Did you pay for that too?" She looked down. "No, sir. I just thought—" "You don't get paid to think, Morgan. You get paid to follow the rules." He slammed his hand on the table. "Do you know how much trouble this caused? Corporate has been calling all day." "I'm sorry," Emily said quietly. "It won't happen again." "That's right." Mr. Daniels opened a drawer and pulled out some papers. "You're fired, effective immediately." The words hit Emily like a physical blow. "Fired? But I worked here for 3 years. I was never late, never took sick leave. You should have thought of this before handing out handouts to billionaires." He pushed the resignation papers toward her. "Sign here." Tears blurred her vision as she signed. "Please, Mr. Daniels, I'm a single mother. I need this job. The kids—" "Not my problem," he interrupted. "Corporate policy is clear. No free food, period. Clean out your locker and turn in your uniform." Emily dragged herself to the locker room. Alicia followed her. "It's so unfair," Alicia whispered. "You paid for his food." "It doesn't matter," Emily said, emptying the cabinet. Pictures of Emma and Jason smiled at her from the door. "Rules are rules. What are you going to do now?" Emily didn't answer. She didn't know. Outside, the small crowd grew. Someone recognized her as she left the building. "It's her!" the teenager shouted, pointing the phone at her. "The angel of the coffee shop." "Please leave me alone," Emily said, pulling her hood over her head. Tears streamed down her face as she hurried to the bus stop. The bus was late, giving her too much time to think. How was she going to pay the rent now? Jason's shoes? Emma's asthma medicine? At home, Mrs. Rodriguez was waiting with the children. "Mom!" Jason ran up to her. "We saw you on YouTube. You met Elon Musk." Emma hugged her around the waist. "Are you okay, Mom? You look sad." Emily forced a smile. "I'm fine, my dears. I'm just tired." She turned to Mrs. Rodriguez. Thanks for looking after them." After Mrs. Rodriguez left, Emily sat the children down. "I need to tell you something. Mom won't be working at the Morningstar coffee shop anymore." "Why?" Emma asked. "Sometimes grown-ups have to change jobs," Emily said, not wanting to worry them. "I'll find another job soon." "Are we going to be okay?" Jason asked, his eyes serious behind his large glasses. "Of course it will," Emily assured them, although she wasn't sure herself. "We always come up with something, don't we?" That night, after the kids were asleep, Emily sat at the kitchen table with a notepad. She calculated how long they could survive on her warehouse job alone. 2 weeks, maybe 3, if they ate nothing but beans and rice. Her phone kept buzzing with notifications. The video had 20 million views. News sites were running stories about it. People were trying to find her on social media. Emily turned off her phone and cried silently at the kitchen table. One small act of kindness had cost her everything. She didn't know that across town, in a sleek office building, Elon Musk was watching the same viral video. He frowned, rewinding to get a better look at her badge. "Emily Morgan," he muttered, typing the name into his computer. Something about her seemed oddly familiar, beyond their interactions last night. He couldn't quite place it, but he was sure they'd crossed paths somewhere before. 2 days passed, 2 of the hardest days of Emily's life. She applied for jobs at every coffee shop, grocery store, and gas station within a bus ride of her apartment. No one called back. It seemed like everyone had seen the viral video, and no manager wanted to hire a coffee shop angel who would bend the rules to be kind. "We'll call you," they all said with forced smiles that meant they wouldn't call. Emily stared at the stack of bills on the kitchen counter. The pink envelope on top was the worst, the final notice for her electric bill. If she didn't pay by Friday, their power would be shut off. No lights, no refrigerator, No fans on the hot Texas nights. The doorbell rang. Emily opened the door and saw Mrs. Chen, their elderly neighbor from the apartment across the street. "The package has arrived for you," Mrs. Chen said, holding out a small box. "Is everything all right? You look tired." Emily forced a smile. "Just looking for a job. Thanks for bringing this. Do you need babysitting tomorrow?" "I'm free," Mrs. Chen offered. She had been helping with the babysitting since Emily lost her job at the coffee shop. "That would be great. I have 2 interviews." After Mrs. Chen left, Emily opened the package. It contained asthma medication for Emma. Thank goodness for the government's insurance that covered prescriptions. The refrigerator was nearly empty when she checked it. Half a gallon of milk, a few wilted carrots, and 3 eggs. The cupboard wasn't much better. 1 box of pasta, a can of beans, and a nearly empty jar of peanut butter. "Mom, I'm hungry," Emma called from the living room where she was doing her homework. "Dinner's in 20 minutes, honey," Emily replied, taking out the pasta. Buttered pasta again. The kids hadn't complained yet, but she'd seen Jason picking at his bowl of plain noodles every night. While the pasta was cooking, Emily checked her bank account on her phone. The balance made her stomach churn. $127.40. Not enough for the rent, which was due in 10 days. The warehouse had cut her hours, claiming business had slowed. She suspected they just didn't want the attention that came with her viral fame. People still recognized her occasionally, pointing and whispering. After dinner, while the kids were taking a bath, Emily opened her laptop. It was old and slow, but it worked for filling out job applications. Her inbox was filled with messages from strangers who had somehow found her address. "You are an inspiration. Can I send you money? My church wants to recognize you." She deleted them all. She didn't want charity or fame. She just wanted her normal life back. The TV in the corner had been with the family for years. Emma and Jason liked to watch cartoons on Saturday mornings. Emily ran her hand down its side, thinking that the pawn shop down the street might give her $100 for it, enough to keep the lights on. The next morning, Mrs. Chen came early to look after the children. "Good luck with your interviews," she said, patting Emily on the arm. "A smart girl like you will find a good job." "Thank you," Emily said, grateful for the encouragement. She didn't tell Mrs. Chen that both interviews were for positions that paid less than Morning Star. Her first interview at a local diner went badly. The manager recognized her immediately. "You're that girl from the coffee shop," he said. "Sorry, we don't have any openings right now." Emily knew it was a lie. Their help wanted ad had been hanging in the window for weeks. The second interview at the gas station went better until the manager asked why she quit her previous job. "I got fired," Emily admitted. "There was a video of Elon Musk." "Oh, that story." The manager frowned. "Yeah, I saw it. Look, I can't hire someone who gives away free stuff. Bad for business." By the time Emily got home, she felt defeated. She threw her purse on the kitchen counter and stared at the bills again. "Emily," Mrs. Chen called from the living room. "Come watch your kids on TV." Emily rushed into the living room. Sure enough, the local news channel was showing a clip of Emma and Jason leaving the school. A reporter was standing nearby, speaking into a microphone. "The children of coffee shop angel Emily Morgan attended school today, while their mother continues her job search. Sources say Morgan has been unable to find work since being fired 2 days ago." "Turn it off," Emily said, her voice shaking. "Please." Mrs. Chen pressed the remote control. "Sorry, I didn't know it would upset you. Everything is fine. Thanks for looking after them today." After Mrs. Chen left, Jason tugged Emily's sleeve. "Mom, why was I on TV?" How could she explain this to a 7-year-old? Sometimes people are interested in ordinary people like us. There is nothing to worry about. That night, after the kids were asleep, Emily unplugged the television and loaded it into a shopping cart she'd borrowed from the apartment complex. The walk to the pawn shop took 20 minutes. $50, the pawn shop owner offered. "It's worth at least 100, Emily countered. 60, final offer. She took the money, blinking back tears. $60 wouldn't cover the electric bill, but it would help. On the way home, pushing her empty cart, Emily passed a restaurant where people were sitting eating large meals. Through the windows, her stomach growled. She ate less to make sure the kids had enough. Back at her apartment, Emily checked her email one last time before going to bed. Among the usual spam was a message with a subject that caught her attention. "Regarding your kindness at the Morning Star, E." Her finger hovered over the delete button. Probably just another stranger, but something made her click it. The message was short. "Miss Morgan, I would like to meet with you to discuss a matter of mutual interest. Coffee tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Green Bob's Cafe, Main Street, E. Is it really from who she thought it was? Or is some creepy stranger using the situation to lure her in? Emily closed her laptop without answering. She was too tired to think clearly. She would decide what to do tomorrow. As Emily fell asleep on the couch, she had given her bed to the kids weeks earlier. She dreamed of better days. Days when a single mother could be kind without losing everything. Days when she didn't have to count pennies or skip meals. Little did she know that the mysterious email was about to lead her to these better days and so much more. Emily woke up with a stiff neck from sleeping on the uncomfortable couch. Sunlight filtered through the thin curtains. The kids would be up soon wanting breakfast. She checked the time, 6:30 in the morning. The mysterious email from the night before was nagging at her. Who was A? Could it really be Elon Musk? It seemed impossible. Why would a billionaire want to date her? But who else could have used that initial in relation to the coffee shop incident? She opened her laptop again and reread the message. Green Bean Cafe at 2 o'clock today. The cafe was only 10 minutes away by bus. Mrs. Chen could babysit again, but Emily hated asking for more favors. Mom, Emma stood in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Can I have some cereal? Sure, honey. Emily closed her laptop. She'd think about the email later. After getting the kids ready for school, Emily took them to the bus stop. The summer heat was already rising, promising another scorching Texas day. Be good today, she told them, kissing their foreheads. Mrs. Rodriguez will pick you up after school. When will you be home? Jason asked, adjusting his oversized glasses. Before dinner, darling. Mom has an important meeting. Another interview? Jason asked hopefully. Something like that, Emily said. She didn't want to give them false hope. After the school bus left, Emily headed to the public library. They had air conditioning, free computers, and no one asked questions if you sat there all day. Perfect for job hunting. The librarian, Ms. Patel, smiled as Emily walked in. Here again? Computer number 3 is free. Thank you, Emily said, coming here almost every day. Ms. Patel never mentioned the viral video, though Emily suspected she knew. For 3 hours, Emily filled out online applications, retail stores, restaurants, cleaning services, anything that would pay the bills. Each application asked about her previous employment, and each time, Emily's fingers hesitated over the keyboard. Should she mention Morning Star? Would they check? At noon, Emily's phone buzzed with a message from the warehouse. No shifts this week. Another blow. That meant no pay at all. Her stomach growled. She had skipped breakfast so the cereal would last longer for the kids. In her purse was an apple and half a peanut butter sandwich, her lunch for the day. While she was eating at one of the library tables, Emily opened the mysterious email again. What did she have to lose by going? At worst, she would waste her bus fare and an hour of her time. At best, she didn't dare hope for much. Miss Patel, Emily walked up to the librarian's desk. Do you know the Green Bean Cafe on Main Street? Sure, good coffee, free Wi-Fi. What? Is it safe? A normal place? Ms. Patel raised an eyebrow. Completely safe. Lots of students and businessmen. Everything okay? Yes, thank you. I'm just meeting someone there and wasn't sure about the place. By 1:30, Emily had made her decision. She wrote to Mrs. Chen, who was happy to meet the children after school, then caught the bus to Main Street, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The Green Bean Cafe was nicer than Emily had expected. Plants hung in macrame holders from the ceiling, college students typed on laptops, and businessmen held meetings in corner booths. Classical music played softly. Emily ordered the cheapest drink on the menu, a small black coffee, and found a table near the door. If she felt anything strange, she could quickly leave. At exactly 2 o'clock, a sleek black car pulled up outside. Emily watched through the window as a woman in a formal jacket stepped out. She looked important, the kind of person who belonged in office buildings with glass elevators, not small coffee shops. The woman walked in, looked around the room, and headed straight for Emily's table. Miss Morgan. Her voice was friendly but professional. Emily nodded, suddenly nervous. I'm Tanya Williams, Elon Musk's executive assistant, she said, extending her hand. Thank you for coming. Emily shook her hand, speechless. So the email really was from Elon Musk, or at least someone who worked for him. Can I join you? Tanya asked, pointing to an empty chair. Of course, Emily answered. Tanya sat down and placed the elegant tablet on the table. I'm sure you're wondering why we contacted you. Emily nodded. Mr. Musk saw the video of your interaction at Morningstar. He was very touched by your kindness, especially after learning that you paid with your own money and were subsequently fired. Emily's cheeks turned red. It wasn't anything special. Anyone would have done the same. Tanya smiled. We both know that's not true, Miss Morgan. Kindness like yours is rare. She touched the tablet screen. Mr. Musk would like to meet you in person. Emily almost knocked over her coffee. Meet me? Why? He prefers to explain it himself if you are ready. He is free tomorrow morning. Tomorrow? Emily's mind raced. The kids were at school. Mrs. Rodriguez couldn't watch them forever. And what was she going to wear? Her best outfit was a 3-year-old dress from Target. I'm not sure, Emily began. My kids... We understand that you are a single mother, Tanya interrupted softly. We can arrange a meeting at any time convenient for you and provide transportation, of course. May I ask what this is about? I'm not looking for attention or charity. Pride was one of the few things Emily had left. Tanya's expression softened. It's neither, Ms. Morgan. Mr. Musk believes in recognizing and rewarding genuine kindness. He also feels terrible that his visit resulted in you losing your job. She slid a business card across the table. It was a heavy cream card with a name, a phone number, and a small silver logo. Take some time to think about it, Tanya said. Call this number when you decide. It's my direct line. Emily put the card in her pocket. Thank you, I'll call. One more thing. Tanya reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. Mr. Musk insisted that I give you this, regardless of whether you agreed to meet with him. The envelope was thick. Emily opened it carefully. There was cash inside. Lots of cash. She quickly closed it, looking around to make sure no one had seen. I can't accept this, she whispered. This is not charity, Tanya said firmly. This is compensation for the hardship caused by the viral video. Please take it. It will make Mr. Musk feel better about the situation. After Tanya left, Emily sat in the cafe for a long time, looking at the envelope and the business card. The envelope contained $2,000, enough to cover rent, bills, and food for a month. On the bus ride home, Emily's mind was racing with questions. Why would Elon Musk care about a coffee shop worker? What was he trying to discuss? Was this all some elaborate prank for internet fame? By the time she got to her apartment, Emily had made her decision. She was going to meet Elon Musk, not for herself, but for Emma and Jason. They deserved a mother who would seize every opportunity, even the scary weird ones. That night, after the kids went to bed, Emily called the number on Tanya's business card. This is Emily Morgan, she said when Tanya answered. I'd like to accept Mr. Musk's invitation. Great, Tanya replied. Mr. Musk is free tomorrow morning at 10:30. Will that work for you? Emily thought about her schedule. The kids would be in school and she had no interviews scheduled. Yes, that will do, she said. Excellent. The car will pick you up at 9:30. Is your address still Sycamore Avenue, building 17,426, apartment 3B? Emily felt a chill. Yes, but how did you know? Mr. Musk has resources, Miss Morgan, Tanya said smoothly. There's nothing to worry about. We just wanted to make this as convenient for you as possible. After she hung up, Emily couldn't sleep. She paced her small living room, wondering if she'd made the right decision. What if this was all a setup? What if reporters were waiting to pounce on her? Coffee shop angel dating billionaire was another viral story she didn't want, but the money in the envelope seemed real enough. She used the small amount to buy groceries on the way home. The cashier didn't even look twice at the $100 bill. The kids ate fresh fruit for dinner for the first time in weeks. The morning came too quickly. Emily woke the children up earlier than usual. Why do we have to get ready so quickly? Emma complained, rubbing her eyes. Mom has an important meeting today, Emily explained, brushing her daughter's hair. Mrs. Rodriguez is picking you up from school. Another interview? Jason asked hopefully. Something like that, Emily said. She didn't want to give them false hope. After the kids left for school, Emily hurried home to get ready. She tried on every outfit she owned before settling on the navy blue dress she'd worn to her cousin's wedding 2 years ago. It was a little big now. She'd lost weight by skipping meals, but it was the prettiest thing she owned. At exactly 9:30, her phone vibrated with the message. Your car has arrived. Through the window, Emily saw a black Tesla parked in front of her building, the driver in a dark suit standing nearby, checking his phone. Well, let's go, she whispered to herself. The driver opened the car door when she approached. Miss Morgan, I'm Carlos. I'll drive you to your appointment today. The Tesla was the nicest car Emily had ever been in. The seats were soft leather, and everything smelled new. Classical music played softly through hidden speakers. Where exactly are we going? Emily asked as they pulled away from her apartment complex. Tesla headquarters are in North Austin, Carlos replied. About 40 minutes away, given traffic. Emily's heart was pounding. Tesla headquarters. She expected another cafe, maybe a restaurant, but not the actual office where Elon Musk worked. Would you like some water or coffee? Carlos pointed to a small refrigerator between the seats. There are also pastries there if you're hungry. Emily's empty stomach growled, but pride made her say, "No thanks, I'm fine." Carlos smiled knowingly into the rearview mirror. It's a long drive. The chocolate croissants are really good. Mr. Musk orders them fresh every morning. Hunger conquered pride. Maybe just one. The croissant was the best Emily had tasted in months. Flaky, buttery, with a rich chocolate core. She tried to eat it slowly, savoring each bite. Outside the window, the landscape changed from city streets to highways to the manicured landscapes of Texas's Silicon Valley. Massive corporate buildings rose like castles of glass and steel. People in expensive clothes hurried along the sidewalks, carrying coffee cups and looking important. We've arrived, Carlos announced, turning into a large parking lot. Tesla's building was sleek and modern. Solar panels covered the roof, and electric cars filled the parking lot. The sign at the entrance simply said Tesla in silver letters. Carlos opened her door. Miss Williams will meet you in the lobby. Emily's legs wobbled as she walked toward the building. What was she doing here? She didn't belong in this world of tech billionaires and fancy offices. She belonged behind a cash register or cleaning hotel rooms. Jobs that paid the bills for people like her. The lobby was minimalist and bright. One wall was all glass, overlooking a garden with a small fountain. Tanya stood at the front desk, typing on her phone. She looked up when Emily walked in. Miss Morgan, welcome to Tesla. Tanya extended her hand. Thank you for coming. Thanks for the ride, Emily replied, trying to sound confident. Of course, please follow me. They entered an elevator with no buttons, only a small screen that Tanya pressed her thumb to. The doors closed silently. Mr. Musk is pleased to meet you, Tanya said as the elevator rose. He rarely accepts personal meetings these days, but he was quite insistent about meeting you. I still don't understand why, Emily admitted. Tanya smiled. He will explain everything. The elevator opened directly into a large office. Windows stretched from floor to ceiling, offering a spectacular view of the hills beyond Austin. A desk made from what looked like a single piece of wood dominated one end of the room. Near the windows was a group of comfortable-looking chairs around a low table. And there, standing by the window, was Elon Musk. He turned as they walked in, and Emily recognized him immediately. He looked different than he had that night in the coffee shop. Rested, wearing a dress shirt instead of a rumpled t-shirt. But his eyes were the same, intense, curious, and somehow kind. Miss Morgan, he said, walking toward her with his hand outstretched. Thank you for coming. I've been looking forward to seeing you again. Or rather, Emily shook his hand, finding her voice. Thank you for the invitation, Mr. Musk. Please call me Elon. He pointed to the seating area. Would you like coffee? Tea? Coffee would be nice, Emily said, deciding that accepting small favors was not the same as accepting charity. Tanya quietly left the room as they sat down. Emily settled on the edge of her chair, too nervous to lean back. I want to apologize, Elon began, surprising her. I never intended for you to lose your job because of our interactions. It's not your fault, Emily said quickly. I broke the rules. I knew what I was doing. Elon's expression darkened. Rules that punish kindness are rules that are meant to be broken. He leaned forward. Have you found a new job? Emily looked down at her hands. Not yet. It was difficult because of the video. She nodded. Everyone recognizes me. Nobody wants to hire a McDonald's angel who can give away free food. That's ridiculous, Elon said, frowning. You paid for my food with your own money. I saw the receipt. The only thing you gave me was an apple pie, which cost, what, $1? Something like that, Emily agreed. But rules are rules, as my manager said. The woman came in with a tray of coffee and placed it on the table before quietly leaving. Elon poured for both of them. Miss Morgan, Emily, if I may, I asked you to come here not just to apologize. Elon stirred sugar in his coffee. I asked you to come here because I believe in recognizing exceptional people, and what you did that night was exceptional. Emily blushed. It was just lunch. It wasn't just lunch, Elon countered. You had no idea who I was when you offered to pay. Your register was turned away from the window. I saw you swipe your card without hesitation. That tells me everything about your character. He took a sip of coffee before continuing. People like you are rare, Emily. People who do the right thing not because someone is watching, but because it is simply who they are. Emily didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken about her like that. I would like to offer you a job, Elon said suddenly. Emily's coffee cup almost slipped out of her hands. Work? Here at Tesla? Yes, Elon confirmed. In our customer service department. We need people with natural empathy and problem-solving skills. People who understand that sometimes rules have to be bent when it comes to people. But I don't have a college degree, Emily protested. I've never worked in an office like this. You have life experience and natural talent, Elon replied. We can teach you the technical aspects. We can't teach you character. He pushed the folder across the table. Starting salary is $85,000 per year, with a full benefits package, including health insurance for you and your children, flexible hours to fit your family's needs, and Tesla transportation reimbursement. Emily couldn't breathe. The amount was more than 3 times what she had ever earned. It would change everything. A better apartment, good food, no more choosing between electricity and medicine. Why? She finally managed to ask. Why are you doing this for a stranger? Elon's expression changed, becoming more thoughtful. Maybe we're not total strangers, Emily. There's something I need to check, but... He paused. Let's just say that kindness creates connections that we don't always see at first. He stood up, signaling that the meeting was coming to an end. Think about it over the weekend. This is not a charity offer. It is an investment in someone who I believe will be an asset to my company. As Emily rode down the elevator with Tanya, her mind was spinning with possibilities. A real job, a good salary, safety for her children. He really means it, you know, Tanya said quietly. This isn't a publicity stunt. He never does those. It just seems too good to be true, Emily admitted. Tanya smiled. Sometimes good things do happen, Miss Morgan. Even in this cynical world, the same Tesla was waiting to take Emily home. As the Texas Silicon Valley landscape passed by, she allowed herself to hope for the first time in years. Emily didn't tell her kids about the job offer right away. What if something went wrong? What if Elon Musk changed his mind? It was better to wait until everything was certain. How was your meeting, Mom? Jason asked that evening when they were having dinner. A real dinner, with chicken and vegetables bought with the money from the envelope. I wonder, Emily said cautiously, I might have good news soon. The weekend passed in a haze of hope and worry. Emily read the job offer package dozens of times. The benefits seemed incredible. Health insurance that covered everything, a retirement plan, child care assistance, even tuition reimbursement if she wanted to take college courses. By Monday morning, Emily had made her decision. She called the number Tanya had given her. Good morning, Miss Morgan, Tanya replied. Have you had time to consider the offer? Yes, Emily said. I'd like to accept it. Great. Mr. Musk would be delighted. Can you start next Monday? That will give our HR department time to process your paperwork. Next Monday is perfect, Emily agreed, her heart pounding with excitement. Excellent. The car will pick you up at 8 in the morning. In the meantime, Mr. Musk would like to meet with you again this week. Would Wednesday be okay? Emily hesitated. Yes, but may I ask why? He has something he'd like to discuss with you in person, Tanya explained. Something of a more historical nature. Historical? What could that mean? Emily's curiosity was piqued. Wednesday is coming, she said. After she hung up the phone, Emily finally allowed herself to celebrate. She danced around her small kitchen, laughing with joy. That evening, she told the children, I got a new job, she announced during dinner. A really good one, with a big company called Tesla. A car company? Jason's eyes widened behind his glasses. The one that Elon Musk owns? Jason asked. Exactly, Emily confirmed. Are we going to be rich now? Emma asked. Emily laughed. Not rich, dear, but we'll have enough. Enough for a better apartment, new clothes for school, and no more worrying about bills. Emily slept better that night than she had in months. Wednesday arrived quickly. This time, Emily felt less nervous when the Tesla pulled up. Carlos was driving again. Good morning, Miss Morgan, he greeted her. We're going somewhere else today, not the Tesla office. Not to the Tesla office? Emily asked, surprised. No, ma'am. Mr. Musk asked to meet at one of his other residences. The drive took them through winding roads into the hills above Austin. The houses grew larger and farther apart, with long driveways and guarded gates. Finally, they turned onto a private road marked only by a discreet private property sign. At the end of the road stood a large house, not a mansion, but certainly larger than any house Emily had ever been in. It was modern, with lots of glass and natural wood, nestled among the tall trees. "We're here," Carlos announced, stopping at the main entrance. Emily walked out, suddenly feeling out of place in her plain blue blouse and black pants. But before she could worry too much, the front door opened and there stood Elon Musk himself. "Emily, welcome," he said. "Thank you for coming." He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, much more casual than he had been at their office meeting. He seemed relaxed, almost impatient. "Thank you for the invitation," Emily replied, following him inside. The interior was surprisingly simple for a billionaire's home. Clean lines, comfortable furniture, large windows overlooking gardens and trees. No gold fixtures or crystal chandeliers, just thoughtful design and quality materials. "This is one of my little houses," Elon explained, leading her through the space to the bright kitchen. "I use it when I need quiet time to think." An older woman stood at the counter, arranging cookies on a plate. She smiled warmly at Emily. "This is Maria, my housekeeper for the last 15 years, Elon said. "Nice to meet you," Maria said with a slight accent. She reminded Emily of her own mother. "Maria makes the best cookies in Texas," Elon added, taking one from the plate. "Would you like tea or coffee?" "Coffee, please," Emily replied, still trying to figure out why she was here. It didn't look like a business meeting. Maria poured coffee into the mugs and tactfully left the room. Elon motioned for Emily to sit at the kitchen island. "You're probably wondering why I asked you to come here instead of to the office," he began. Emily nodded. "What I want to discuss is personal, not professional." Elon took a sip of coffee. "It's about something that happened many years ago." Emily felt a wave of nervousness. "What do you mean?" "The night at the Morning Star wasn't the first time our paths crossed," Elon said. "Or rather, the first time I crossed paths with your family." Emily looked at him blankly. "I don't understand." Elon put down his mug. 20 years ago, I was just starting out in Texas. I had very little money, sometimes barely enough to buy food. There was a coffee shop in North Austin that I would go to late at night when the prices were cheaper. A strange feeling came over Emily. Her mother had worked in a coffee shop in North Austin 20 years ago. "One night," Elon continued, "I realized I couldn't even afford a proper meal. I was counting pennies at the counter. The woman working there, her name tag said Morgan, noticed me struggling." Emily's heart started pounding. "My mother worked the night shift at McDonald's when I was a child." "I know," Elon said softly. "Sarah Morgan gave me free food that night, and the next night, and several times after that, until things got better for me. She never made me feel like an object of charity, just told me to give back someday." Tears filled Emily's eyes. "This can't be real." "Aram, when I saw your name tag that night, Morgan, something seemed familiar, but it was a common last name, and I wasn't sure. Then after the video went viral and I found out your name was Emily Morgan, I asked my team to do some research." He pulled out his phone and showed her the photo. It was grainy and old, but Emily immediately recognized her mother. Younger, standing behind the McDonald's counter, smiling at the camera. "Where did you get this?" she whispered. "The old owner of that McDonald's kept it. Your mother was his favorite employee." Elon put his phone down. "Emily, the kindness you showed me was no coincidence. You are your mother's daughter in every way." Emily wiped away her tears. Her mother had died of cancer 5 years ago, never having seen how hard Emily's life had become since then. "She never told me about helping a young entrepreneur," Emily said. "It wasn't her style. She just quietly did good deeds." "Like mother, like daughter," Elon noted. "When I realized who you were, I knew I had to help. Not just because I made you lose your job, but because I finally had a chance to repay the kindness that meant everything to me when I had nothing." They sat in silence for a moment as the weight of the connection settled between them. "The job offer is still on merit," Elon finally said. "You're qualified, and Tesla needs people like you. But I wanted you to know the full story." Emily was at a loss for words. "My mother would be happy," she said finally. "Not because of the work or the money, but because her little good deeds mattered." "They mattered more than she could know," Elon agreed. "Small acts of kindness can change lives in ways we never expect." As Emily left home that day, she felt her mother's presence strongly, not just in her memories, but in the legacy of kindness that had somehow, against all odds, found its way back to her family. The Tesla drove her home through the golden Texas afternoon. For the first time since her mother left, Emily felt like she wasn't facing the world alone. Monday arrived with a mixture of excitement and nerves. Emily woke up before her alarm, too excited to sleep. Today was her first day at Tesla. "You look beautiful, Mom," Emma said as Emily put on her new outfit, a simple navy dress she'd bought at Target with some of the money from Elon's envelope. "Thank you, honey. Are you nervous about the new school?" Emily asked, brushing her daughter's hair. Both kids were scheduled to start at a better school next month. It was closer to Tesla, with smaller classes and more resources. Emily had already filled out the transfer paperwork. "Will the kids be cute there?" Jason asked quietly, adjusting his glasses on his nose. Emily stooped down to his level. "I'm sure they will. And even if some don't, you're strong and smart. Just be yourself." After dropping the kids off at their current school, Emily waited outside her apartment building. Right on time, a silver Tesla pulled up, and a different driver than before got out. "Good morning, Ms. Morgan. I'm David, your designated transportation coordinator." "Transportation coordinator?" Emily repeated, confused. "Yes, ma'am. Mr. Musk has arranged for a company car to transport you to and from work each day until you are comfortable driving it yourself." He pointed to the Tesla. "This car will be available to you as part of your employment package." Emily's mouth opened. "Is this for me?" "Yes, ma'am. I'll teach you how to operate it this week if it works with your schedule." Emily hadn't driven in years, not since her old car broke down and she couldn't afford to fix it. The thought of having reliable transportation again, especially something so enjoyable, was overwhelming. Tesla headquarters seemed less intimidating this time. David escorted her to HR, where a friendly woman named Priya helped her fill out paperwork and explained her benefits in detail. "Your health insurance coverage starts immediately," Priya explained, "for you and your children." Emily thought about Emma's asthma medication, which sometimes cost hundreds of dollars a month. "Immediately? No waiting period?" "Mr. Musk specifically waived the waiting period in your case," Priya said with a smile. Emily was then shown her new workspace in the customer service department. She had her own desk with a new computer and a view of the courtyard. Her supervisor, Jamal, greeted her warmly. "We're glad you've joined our team, Emily," he said. "Don't worry about learning everything at once. We'll start training today, and you'll have plenty of support." By lunchtime, Emily's head was spinning with new information. The cafeteria was offering free, healthy options to all employees. As she stood in line, unsure of what to choose, a friendly voice spoke up next to her. "First day? The pasta is really good." Emily turned to see a woman about her age, with curly hair and a warm smile. "I'm Layla," the woman said. "Customer service, third floor." Emily, customer service, also on the third floor. "And yes, it's my first day. Do you mind if I join you?" I remember how overwhelming the first day can be. Over lunch, Layla shared more about the company culture and what to expect. She worked at Tesla for 3 years and loved it. "The best part is that they really value work-life balance," Layla explained. "I have 2 kids too, and they understand when I need to leave for school events or if someone gets sick." "It's a relief," Emily admitted. "I always had to choose between being there for my kids and keeping my job." After lunch, Emily continued her orientation. She learned computer systems, practiced handling customer calls, and met with many of her coworkers. Everyone was welcoming and patient with her questions. At 3:30, Jamal looked at her desk. "You should leave now if you need to pick up the kids from school," he said. "We usually work until 5, but Tanya mentioned your kids' schedules. We can be flexible as long as you arrange regular after-school care." Emily was stunned. In her previous jobs, leaving early, even for children, had never been an option. "Thank you," she said gratefully. "It will be easier to coordinate everything when we move closer." "No rush," Jamal assured her. "Family comes first here." David waited with Tesla when she was done for the day. As they drove to pick up her kids, Emily felt like she was living in a fairy tale. Was this really her new life? When Emma and Jason saw the fancy car waiting for them, their eyes widened. "Is this ours?" Jason gasped. "It's a work car," Emily explained as they climbed inside. "Part of Mom's new job." "There are screens in the back," Emma exclaimed when she discovered the entertainment system. That evening, after the kids were asleep, Emily sat at her small kitchen table, looking at apartment listings on her new work laptop. She could afford a lot more now. A 3-bedroom place in a safe neighborhood, near good schools and parks. Her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. "Hope your first day went well. Let me know if you need anything. Elon Musk was texting her. Emily still couldn't believe it was all real. Thank you. Everyone was very kind and helpful, she replied. Great. One more thing. Tesla has a child care center for employees' children. Seats are reserved for your children if you're interested. Emily thought about the expensive after-school programs she could never afford. That would be wonderful. Thank you. You're welcome. You've earned this position. The rest is just removing unnecessary obstacles. Over the next few days, Emily settled into her new routine. The work was challenging but rewarding. She helped customers with their Tesla questions and issues, drawing on her natural empathy and growing technical knowledge. She found a lovely apartment halfway between Tesla and the kids' new school. It had 3 bedrooms, a balcony, and a small garden area. Rent was easily affordable with her new salary. Moving day came quickly. They didn't have much to pack, just clothes, a few toys, and family photos. The rest of their belongings were too old or broken to take to a new start. I can't believe this is our new home, Jason said as they stood in the empty living room of their new apartment. Sunlight streamed through the large windows and the kitchen sparkled with new appliances. Am I really going to have my own room? Emma asked, running out into the hallway to explore. Yes, dear. Your own room, which you can decorate however you want. While the kids were exploring, Emily's phone vibrated with another message from Elon. Settling in, housewarming gift arriving today. Before she could answer, there was a knock on the door. The delivery team was standing outside with a truck full of furniture. Beds, dressers, a dining table, a comfortable sofa, and even desks for the kids to do their homework. Mr. Musk chose these items himself, the delivery foreman explained. He told me to tell you that this is not charity. It is an investment in the well-being of his employees. Tears filled Emily's eyes as the furniture was brought in. Everything was beautiful, simple, and practical. Exactly what they needed. Life seemed to be finally getting better. A week had passed since moving into the new apartment. The children were happy in their new rooms. Emily was doing great at her new job. And the financial difficulties of the past were a thing of the past. But fate had a new test in store for her. On Wednesday morning, as Emily was getting ready to leave for work, her phone rang, the number for Jason's school. Miss Morgan? The school nurse's voice was alarmed. You need to come right away. Jason is having a severe asthma attack. We've called an ambulance. Emily's heart stopped. She ran out of the apartment without even locking the door and rushed to the Tesla she was now driving. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely turn the key in the ignition. Please let him be okay, she whispered, breaking all the traffic rules on the way to school. When she arrived, the ambulance was just loading Jason. His small body was limp, his face a bluish gray, his lips an alarming blue. An oxygen mask covered half his face. Jason! Emily screamed, rushing towards him. Are you the mother? The paramedic asked. Come with us. Her condition is critical. In the ambulance, Emily held her son's cold hand as paramedics worked on him, administering medications and monitoring his vital signs. What happened? She asked, choking on tears. A severe asthma attack, the paramedic replied. The gym teacher said they were outside when he suddenly collapsed. His inhaler didn't help. But he hasn't had a serious attack in months, Emily whispered. The new drugs were helping so well. At the hospital, Jason was immediately taken to intensive care, leaving Emily in the waiting room, crying and praying. She called Emma's school, explained the situation, and they promised to keep her there until further notice. Then she remembered about work and with trembling hands dialed Jamal's number. This is Emily, she said, her voice breaking with sobs. My son is in the hospital, an asthma attack. He's in critical condition. Oh my God, Emily. Jamal's voice was full of sympathy. Don't worry about work. Focus on your son. We're here if you need anything. The hours in the hospital dragged on painfully. Doctors came in and out of the intensive care unit, but no one said anything to Emily. She sat with her hands clasped in prayer, her eyes swollen from crying. Finally, a doctor with a serious face approached her. Miss Morgan, I'm Dr. Ramirez. I'm treating your son. How is he? Emily jumped up. Will he be okay? Dr. Ramirez took a deep breath. Your son's condition is very serious. This is not a normal asthma attack. We suspect a rare complication that affects the heart. He needs specialized therapy and possibly surgery. The room spun around Emily. Operation? Yes, and unfortunately, this procedure is very specialized. It is performed only in a few medical centers in the country, including the Mayo Clinic. But our insurance, Emily began. Your insurance covers basic asthma treatment, But this procedure is experimental. It is not covered by most insurance plans. Emily froze. How much does it cost? Dr. Ramirez looked uncomfortable. About $750,000, taking into account transportation to a specialized center, the procedure and subsequent care. $750,000, an amount Emily would not have been able to earn in 10 years, even with her new salary. There are other options? Her voice was barely audible. We can stabilize him with medication, but without the procedure? The doctor paused. He could have repeated attacks, each worse than the last, and each potentially life-threatening. Emily sank back into her chair, her legs giving way. Masinim, when does he need this operation? Ideally within the next 2 weeks. We need to stabilize his condition first and carry out the necessary preoperative preparation. When the doctor left, Emily was sobbing, her head in her hands. Everything she had built, all the security she had created for her children. And now this. How could she come up with $750,000 in 2 weeks? Even if she sold everything she owned and borrowed from everyone she knew, it would only be a tiny fraction of what she needed. Her phone rang, breaking her out of her spiral of despair. Tanya. Emily, Jamal said you had a family emergency. How can we help? Emily, Jamal said you had a family emergency. How can we help? Through tears, Emily explained the situation. Jason's critical condition, the necessary surgery, the astronomical cost. Mr. Musk would like to speak with you, Tanya said after Emily had finished. He can come to the hospital tomorrow morning. Elon Musk wants to come here? Emily couldn't believe her ears. Yes, he is very concerned about your situation. Hang in there, Emily. We will try to help. The next morning, Emily was dozing in a chair next to her son's bed when she heard a soft knock on the door. Elon Musk was standing in the doorway, dressed in a simple black t-shirt and jeans. Several nurses in the hallway glanced curiously in their direction. Can I come in? He asked quietly. Of course, Emily stood up, rubbing her tired eyes. Elon walked over to the bed and looked at Jason's pale face for a few moments, his chest rising and falling slowly with the help of the machines. I spoke with Dr. Ramirez this morning, Elon said, turning to Emily, and I've been in touch with the top specialists at Mayo Clinic. They're ready to take Jason in for evaluation and surgery this week. Emily looked at him in amazement. But transportation, procedure, cost. Don't worry about it, Elon said, placing his hand on her shoulder. I'll take care of everything. The medical plane will be ready to transport Jason as soon as the doctors confirm that he's stable for transport. The entire medical team is already aware of the situation. Tears poured from Emily's eyes, this time from immense relief and gratitude. I don't know how to thank you. 20 years ago, your mother saved me when I was hungry, Elon said quietly. Kindness came to me when I needed it most. Now it's my turn to do the same. 3 days later, after careful stabilization, Jason was flown to Mayo Clinic on a medical plane, specially equipped to transport critically ill patients. Emily sat next to him for the entire flight, holding his small hand. The medical team monitored his vital signs constantly. Elon also arranged for Emma to fly on a regular flight, accompanied by Mrs. Rodriguez. He took care of all the details. At the Mayo Clinic, they were met by a team of specialists. The next week was spent in intensive testing and preparation for surgery. Each day, a different doctor visited Jason, explaining various aspects of his condition and the upcoming procedure. The cardiopulmonary reconstruction we're planning to perform is a complex procedure, explained Dr. Morgan, the lead cardiac surgeon, when he met with Emily the day before the operation. But in the hands of our team, the risks are minimized. We've performed 23 of these surgeries in the last 5 years with excellent results. Just save my boy, Emily said, her voice shaking. On the day of the surgery, Emily woke up before dawn. She stayed by Jason's bedside as nurses prepared him for the procedure. To her surprise, Elon Musk popped into the room. I arrived on the morning flight, he explained. I wanted to make sure you had everything you needed. You shouldn't have. You must have so much to do, Emily began. Some things are more important than business, Elon answered simply. He walked over to Jason's bed, where he was sedated as part of his preoperative preparation. You know, Elon said, looking at the boy, your son has a bright future ahead of him. When he gets better and grows up, I'd like him to visit SpaceX. Judging by the poster in his room, he's interested in space. It's his passion, Emily smiled through her tears. He builds model rockets and knows more about Mars than I ever will. Then he has a good reason to get better. Elon said. He leaned closer to Jason and said quietly, "Hey, young engineer, there's a whole universe out there waiting for you. Fight now, and someday you can help us reach the stars." Although Jason was sedated and unable to respond, the monitor showed a slight increase in his heart rate, as if somewhere in the back of his mind he heard the words. The operation lasted for over 10 hours. Emily spent this time in the waiting room, where she was soon joined by Emma and Mrs. Rodriguez. Elon stayed with them for a few hours before he had to leave for an important meeting, but he left his personal number and asked to be notified immediately as soon as there was news. "He has the best doctors in the country," he said before leaving. "I believe everything will be fine." Every 2 hours, a nurse came out with updates. "The operation is going according to plan. Vital signs are stable. The difficult stage has been successfully completed." Finally, after almost 11 hours, the operating room doors opened, and Dr. Morgan came out, tired but with a slight smile on his face. "Miss Morgan, the operation was a success. There were difficult moments, but your son turned out to be a real fighter. Now he is in intensive care. The situation is stable." Emily covered her face with her hands, sobbing with relief. Emma clung to her, crying too. "When can we see him?" Emily asked, breathing hard. "In a couple of hours, when he's transferred to the intensive care unit. But I must warn you that recovery after such an operation is a long process. It will take time and patience." The next 3 weeks were filled with Jason's gradual recovery. First, he spent several days in the intensive care unit, where his condition was carefully monitored. Gradually, he began to regain consciousness, at first for short periods, then for longer periods. His first meaningful words were, "Mom, where am I?" "You're in the hospital, dear," Emily said, kissing his hand. "You've had surgery to make your heart and lungs work better." "I had a dream about space," Jason whispered, his voice weak, "and Mr. Musk was there." Emily looked in surprise at the doctor, who was checking Jason's numbers. "Under sedation, the brain processes information differently," the doctor explained. "Sometimes patients pick up on parts of conversations around them and incorporate them into their dreams." Elon Musk checked in regularly on Jason's condition, although his busy schedule prevented him from visiting the hospital in person very often. However, when Jason was moved from the intensive care unit to a regular ward, Elon flew in to visit him. "How is our young researcher?" he asked, entering the room with a large box under his arm. Jason, still pale and weak, but already sitting up in bed, could not believe his eyes. "You're real," he breathed. "I thought you were just a dream." "Dreams sometimes come true if you believe in them enough." Elon smiled, sitting down on a chair next to the bed. "I brought you something." He opened the box and pulled out a detailed model of the rover, an exact replica of those used in the exploration of the Red Planet. "This is a real working model," he explained, demonstrating how it worked. "You can control it with this app when you get stronger." Jason's eyes lit up despite his fatigue. "Thank you, Mr. Musk. This is the best gift." During this visit, Elon also handed Emily an envelope. "A small opportunity for Jason once he's fully recovered," he explained. Inside was an invitation for Jason to join SpaceX's educational program for exceptional high school students, starting on his 16th birthday, as well as the promise of a college scholarship if he chose to study engineering or science. That's too generous," Emily whispered. "Not at all." Elon shook his head. "This is an investment in the future. Kids like Jason, with their passion and curiosity, are the future of space exploration." "I'm going to live on Mars?" Jason gasped, his eyes shining almost feverishly. "If you want," Elon nodded. "But first you need to be fully recovered. Mars is a harsh planet. It needs healthy, strong explorers." In that moment, Emily saw something she hadn't seen in a long time, a fire of determination in her son's eyes, a true will to live that would carry him not only through recovery, but into the amazing future that now lay before him. "I'll get better," Jason said firmly, sitting up in bed. "I promise. And I'll build the best rocket you've ever seen, Mr. Musk." Elon solemnly shook his small hand. "I will wait for this day, young engineer." Later, when Jason had fallen asleep again, Emily and Elon stood at the window of the hospital room, watching the falling snow. "Why?" Emily asked, her voice shaking. "Why have you done so much for us? It's not just because of my mother, is it?" Elon looked at the snowflakes swirling in the light of the street lamps. "You know, when I was a young entrepreneur, a lot of people told me my dreams of revolutionizing the automobile industry, of flying into space, were ridiculous, impossible. But I believed." He turned to her. Your mother didn't just give me food. She gave me something far more valuable. When she saw me counting pennies, she didn't look at me with pity. She looked at me as a man who deserved a chance. And that's what I saw in you when you gave your last money to buy me dinner. He looked at the sleeping Jason. And now I see it in him. The same spark, the same determination, the same indomitable spirit that says, the impossible is simply something that hasn't been done yet. Emily cried silently, finally understanding the full circle her life had come. From a little girl whose mother worked night shifts to support her family, to a mother whose son might one day set foot on another planet. Kindness does return, she whispered, only in more ways than we can imagine. Exactly, Elon nodded. It's not just coming back. It's growing. It's transforming. It's turning into something that can change the world. 6 months later, Emily stood on the observation platform at SpaceX, holding Emma's hand, while Jason, fully recovered, watched in awe as the rocket launched. Elon stood by his side, explaining each phase of the mission. Someday, Elon said, placing his hand on the boy's shoulder, this could be your rocket heading for the red planet. Jason looked up, his face alight with faith in a future that had once seemed out of reach. Not just a future without the fear of the next asthma attack, but a future filled with limitless possibilities. I know, he said with the confidence of a child who had already survived the impossible. And I will take a piece of my grandmother's and mother's kindness with me, so that Mars will be a good place for everyone. Emily hugged both her children as she watched the rocket become a tiny dot of light on the horizon. Like that dot, her family's future was now limitless, bright, and full of promise. And all thanks to one small act of kindness that traveled across decades and destinies to change everything.